All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem B'Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. This is just going to be a quick lesson, or hopefully ends up being a quick lesson. It's ultimately, if you know the scriptures, it's not no man's choice how long his lesson's going to be anyway, or anything what he even says out of his mouth, right? But this is going to be a lesson going into how each of the 12 tribes, right? Each of the 12 tribes is slightly different, man, right? And how we all ultimately come from Jacob. But when you understand the scripture, you'll understand that each of Jacob's sons, each of Israel's sons were slightly different. All right. Now, I'm going to go to the scriptures, Revelation 7 and verse 7th chapter. This is Revelation chapter 7 and verse 1. And after these things, I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the earth, from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Now, forget what these Christians say. You can't make yourself be one of these tribes. You can't make yourself be of one of these tribes, man. And each tribe's got a different spirit slightly, man. Which means that even though all of the 12 patriarchs came from Jacob, right? When each of these 12 men were made, Yahweh put different characteristics on them that was going to be traits that was going to be passed through that people would be able to see as proof that they are from one tribe or the other, man. And there's clearly certain things that can be done, even though we don't know who's part of which tribe now. There's still certain things that can be done by the angels that are going to be gathering people, by where they can know who is and who is not part of which one of the tribes, or who is even an Israelite to begin with. And then it can go down to the differentiation of the tribe. And then it can go even further to differentiation of the clan. So which father or which line of Judah do you belong to, right? But that's things that Yahweh Shai, the angels, and Yahweh will know. Or let me say in order, of lowest to highest, the angels, Yahweh Shai, and Yahweh will know, right? But each tribe's got a different spirit slightly, man. Verse 6, of the tribe of Asher was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin was sealed 12,000. Now Christians, again, will try and say that these people are not Israelites, but none of these people that you can mention are not related to Israel in some way. Who was Manasseh? Was he not a grandson of Israel? Who's Joseph? Was Joseph not Israel's favorite son? Was Joseph not Jacob's favorite son that he gave a coat of many colors? So which one of these people outside of that, which they're the main two that they try and use, who's not related to Jacob in some way? Which one of these is not either Jacob's son or Jacob's grandson? Which one? Which one of these is not one of Jacob's sons or one of Jacob's grandsons? If you ask a Christian that, they can't answer. And it just shows that they're prepared to go through anything to try and make salvation not be in relation to Israelites in any way, man. Now let me go to this. Genesis chapter 4. I'm going to go through a few of these. Genesis chapter 49 and verse 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. And that's a trait of Judah, right? A trait of Judah is that one, no matter what he's doing, right, he gains a following to himself, right? Muhammad Ali was from the tribe of Judah. That's what we believe. And he had a whole following of people that wanted to follow after him. And he had lots of people that was following after him, man, right? That wanted to damn near worship him. Andrew Tate, he's from the tribe of Judah. That's what we believe again. And he as well also has a whole bunch of people that want to follow after him. Both Israelites and heathens are following after that guy, trying to copy everything that he does, right? It's a trait that they naturally have, but where people want to follow after them, man. Let me get this one, verse 5. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. And what's that going into? It's going into how both of these two tribes are heavy into left-hand energy when they're being wicked, right? But they're heavy into dealing with the spiritual things, and especially the tribe of Levi, the Haitians. They were the nation that was used to be the priests, man. But also Simeon are heavy into that left-hand energy, right? And so are Levi. They're into I don't know the name of the Dominican one, but the Levites are into voodoo, man. And then the Dominicans have got their own thing that they're into, man. Their own type of weird witchcrafty type things that they're into, man, when they're being wicked, you know. Let me get another one. Verse 14. Issachar is a strong ass couching between two burdens, and that's going into how the Issacharites, right, are heavy into like hard work, man. They're just naturally a very extremely hard working people, which not all the tribes are hard working to a certain degree anyway. But Issachar is known, their stereotype is working hard. And the symbol for the tribe of Issachar is a donkey, right? And then they've got even foods that are related to donkeys over in Mexico, man. Right, which is who we believe the tribe of Issachar is. Burrito, if I'm not mistaken, means little donkey, right? But then they even like they even work these Mexicans, man, like they're animals, man. They try and damn near treat them like donkeys, right? All this whole world, man. They've even made a parody movie called A Day with or A World Without Mexicans, man, showing how loads of work would not be getting done if Mexicans didn't exist. They've made a comedy movie about a world if no Mexicans existed, or another one about if every Mexican left America. So they know that it's a trait that's within these people, man. And there's many other characteristics of all these different tribes as well, right? But I thought that those three were the main ones that I could bring out quite easily to go into how each tribe's got different characteristics about themselves, man. They've all got different characteristics, right? To where if you start looking at a person, you'll be like, okay, this person I thought this person was that tribe because they look this way, but after being around them for a bit longer, actually I think this person might be that tribe. Or I thought this person was this tribe, but actually I think this person might be this tribe. Like if there's somebody that's heavy into like having a ruling clash mentality, man, right? That person is more than likely part of the tribe of Judah, man. But if there's somebody that is quick to like go from 0 to 100, cursing things out, man, just cursing the world out, man, right? Just cursing out wickedness and bunning it out. That person is part of the tribe of Benjamin, more than likely, as far as I can see from what I think anyway. But obviously, ultimately, you can't 100% know who's part of which tribe anyway. But every single tribe is slightly different, man. They're all slightly different, which shows that when Yahweh made Judah, when he made Levi, when he made all of these different 12 sons of Jacob, right, he put different traits within them, that those traits got passed down through their lineage, right? So every single person of the lineage of Judah has got a different kind of way about them than a person from the tribe of Benjamin, for example, because we're all slightly different, man. Because although we're all the same nation, we're still slightly different, right? This is Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art a holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. And we're different to all these other nations without a shadow of a doubt. Where we're all more similar to each other than we are to any of these scumbag heathens out there, right? These weird bug out heathens. We're all more similar to each other. That's why the people on the west coast of Africa are not even similar close to the people on the on the east side of Africa, right? The east coast of Africa. And that's why over in where I'm from in the Midlands, I never even used to even know what a Ghanaian was. So when I for a time period lived in the south parts of England, I just thought that all of them people was so-called Caribbeans like everyone else, and I only ended up hearing about Ghanaians initially when I ended up moving there, and when I ended up starting being around there, and then gradually Ghanaians and Nigerians started moving into the West Midlands parts of the UK as well. And that's what most people that are in the UK experience they did, where they didn't really know that necessarily even know about Ghanaians and Nigerians initially. They didn't know. They were just mainly Caribbeans over here in the UK, but we're similar, right? Even similar diets, man. Even for example, Puerto Ricans, right? And I know Jamaicans, Caribbeans, and all the other tribes I would assume too have all got similar diets, man. Where they use plantains. Like Puerto Ricans have got a plantain dish where they fry or they grill plantains, right? Or some people, Benjamin, they say plantain, right? But they fry they or they grill those and then they mash it, make it as a base. Then they get like minced beef that they season in some way, whatever, and they put that in there. And then they get the plantains and they wrap the plantain or the plantains around, and they turn it into like a cupcake that's made from plantains and ground beef, and they make that into a dish, man, and they put cheese on it and all that. But then Benjamin or Caribbeans, they've got plantains, man. They have ackee and saltfish with plantains on there. They use that, they eat that. And if I was to check more than enough, I would see that all the tribes have got those kind of dishes, man. I know that Ghanaians and Nigerians have got their own type of rice and peas, and then so have Benjamin got their own version of rice and peas. And you already know that Judah would have their own version of rice and peas, man. Right? All the tribes are similar. They all have similar styles of how they cook certain things, but it's going to be slight variations, man. Their own slight way, just like how, for example, the way how Judah might dance, right? And the way how the tribe of Benjamin will dance will be different, right? It will be slightly different, man. And that's why, let me go to this. That's why this was important. Because some people say, oh, nah, all the Israelites are just the same. That's not true. Because if it was true, then we wouldn't have had to do this. Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls. We wouldn't have had to decide what our house was by the house of our fathers. If we're all just the same tribes, they're slightly different, man. All the tribes are slightly different, man. Like the way how Dominicans will dance, right? It's not exactly the same way how Issachar will dance. And if you listen to like some music that some of the tribe will make, right? Like the salsa type style music that Issachar makes. If a Benjamite or a tribe of Judah starts dancing to that music, they'll feel the beat. They'll be able to catch the beat, but they ain't gonna dance to that the same way, right? Just like how a Brazilian isn't gonna dance to hip hop exactly the same way how a tribe of Judah dances to hip hop music, man. They ain't gonna dance to it the same way. And just like how if you see like a Sizzler Kalonji, he's the main one that does this type of singing that sounds like a wolf. That Benjamin do. He actually sounds to a certain degree like he's howling, man. Like if you hear how a wolf howls and then you hear how he sings, he's the main one that's got that kind of style that they like howl some of the lyrics out, man. It's like a howling, echo kind of sound to it, man. Right? But the other tribes don't sing like that. The other tribes of Israel don't sing like that. And if you give all, like for example, sometimes musicians do remixes or they do their own version of a song using exactly the same beat, right? But when they put their spirit on it from their tribe, the song ends up being a completely different song, man. Whereas if a Judah puts their spirit on it, then it ends up being a whole nother song again. It they end up turning the same beat into a completely different song, or they end up turning the same ingredients for food into a completely different dish, but it will still have the same Israelite flavor on it though, because we all come from Israel, which is the main place where we got our spirit from, man. But then ultimately, if you have to understand that Yahweh gave our forefather after Israel a slightly different spirit. So then we'll have an Israelite spirit with a Benjamite twist, or an Israelite spirit with a Judah twist, or an Israelite spirit with an Issachar twist, an Israelite spirit with a Gad twist. Like the tribe of Gad is very different to many of the tribes of Israel, man. How they are is very different to many of the tribes of Israel. They're very different, man. Like how their spirit is very diverse to a lot of the other tribes, man. In my opinion. Maybe they're most similar to like Reuben and Issachar, you know, but and Asher, but they're very different to they're very different to Judah. Anyway, how Judah acts and how Gad is like almost damn near opposites in some cases, which is just my opinion ultimately. Anyway, that's just my opinion on it. But I just thought I'd do this video that every single one of the tribes is slightly different, man. And let me see if I can remember where that scripture is, where it says a peculiar people, man, because we are peculiar. We're very different to the rest of the world, man. And that's why when we do things, everyone's always bamboozled and they can't help but watch us, man. They can't help but be all up in our business, man. They're always all up in our group. This is 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. We're completely different to the rest of the world, man. And that's why this world secretly always is trying to compete with us, man. Like in boxing, for example, they're always trying to make out like the Israelite boxer that's the best clearly at the time. He's not the greatest boxer right now. For example, Terence Crawford recently just beat the hell out of Errol Spence, man. He whooped his ass, man. Let's be real. Nobody thought that he was gonna beat him up like that, but he beat the brakes off Errol Spence, man. Right? He made that look easy, right? But let's just be clear. Errol Spence was kicking everybody else's ass before that, but then now they're trying to bring out some Japanese guy who more than likely, if he's even any good anyway, I've saw him box a bit. I don't really think that he does anything too skillful, but I've saw him box. He's got a bit of power or whatever. But like they're trying to make out like he's better than Errol Spence at boxing, when he's very close to Gervonta Davis's weight class, and Gervonta Davis would absolutely knock his head off, in my opinion, easily too. Gervonta Davis would beat the hell out of that guy. But they're always just trying to pull out somebody from another nation or somebody that don't look like us to try and bring them as the top guy all the time. All the time. Nobody cared when Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko, even though Vladimir Klitschko had been beating people for the last 10 years. But when Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder, then people was like, okay, he's good, because he was able to beat an Israelite, a man that looks like an Israelite, which Vladimir Klitschko more than likely could be one anyway. I don't really too sure, but he was very talented. And that's a sign of an Israelite. Heavy talent in a particular craftsman. But the point I'm making is that when Tyson Fury was able to beat Deontay Wilder, that's when people began to care. Because that's the main people that everyone wants to compete with, man, in this world. When you go to the gym as an Israelite, everyone secretly watches. It's like that scene in Get Out, man. If brothers watch the movie, there's a scene in Get Out where he's walking through the party and no one even looks at him at all. Nobody looks at him once as he's walking through, and then he goes upstairs, right? And as soon as he goes upstairs, all of them instantly stop talking at the same time and they're just looking upstairs, watching watching and listening to where he's walking, because they pretend like they're not watching you Israelites, man, but they are. You're their main fascination in the world, man. And let me get a scripture. All these people, their main desire is to compete with you and to bring you to nothing so that they can feel good about themselves. Psalm chapter 2 and verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, let us break their band asunder and cast away their cords from us. They want to rule instead of you ruling. They don't want you to rule, man. So they're prepared to have a wicked world like this that we're living in right now, rather than you rule, right? They'd rather that. They'd rather that, man. He that sitteth in the heaven shall laugh. Yahweh shall have them in derision. And the reason why he's going to have them in derision is because we're going to rule. We're going to rule. And we're going to rule over these heathens. Verse 8. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the utmost parts of the earth for thy possession. So anywhere that seems that it's difficult to go, right, for men, we're going to have that as in our possession too. Anywhere where Esau couldn't go, and he was like, nah, that's uninhabitable for humans. You can't get there. We're going to get there, man. You can't get there because you're an Edomite. You can't get there because you're a Moabite. But we can get there, man. The uttermost parts, we're going to have that for our possession too. Anywhere that seemed like it was just an unfertile land, the weather conditions are not stabilized to build crops there, well, we can do it though. Because we're Israelites. The world is made for us. So even places that we couldn't go to in the time of Solomon, right? Even places that we couldn't go to in the times of Solomon, we're going to be able to go to in the times of King David and Yahweh Shai reigning in this next time round, because we're going to be changed. We're going to be a completely different nation in the time to come. So we will be able to go to these places, right? Verse 9, thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them to pieces like a potter's vessel. Because these heathens are not going to be able to just get away with acting up like they can now. Now's the time for them going wild. Heathens gone wild. Now's the time for it now. But in the kingdom, there ain't going to be no wild activity going on, man. And every time there is, because these heathens are going to be stay acting up, right? And we're going to have to keep correcting them, right? We're going to be managers over them, man. We're going to manage the heathens, man. We're going to be watching over them. You better not be breaking the laws. And it's gonna get to where certain laws are just going to be enacted out all the time. But some things they're going to continually keep acting up, man. They might continually try and build themselves a wooden god, try and think that they can try and get out of line. And then we're going to have to show them, that, listen, man, that don't exist. That thing you're trying to make don't exist, man. We're going to have to show them our power again for a bit. Then they might not act up for another 100 years or another decade, maybe another 2 years. Then they're going to get out of line again. I'm going to have to get judged again, man. So there's always a continual reminder, Yahweh's the only God that exists, man. All these things that you think exist, anything that you're talking about, it don't exist. And they're going to know that it don't exist because they're going to see Israelites that are millions of years old, man. And then with their fake things that they're trying to be about, ain't ever going to work. And they're never going to be underneath. They're never going to get out of the position that they're in where the Israelites are over them. It's going to continually be that. But the world's going to be better off for that. Yet they still will surely, because these Israelites these heathens are not going to have the law in their mind. They're still going to get out of line every now and again. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 5, behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahweh my power commanded me, that you should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your knowledge and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. So even though all the tribes are different of Israel, and they have slightly different traits, yet our moral code in the kingdom of heaven is going to be exactly the same, right? Yet some Israelites might like different colors. Some Israelites, the fringes might look a bit different. There might be different thickness, They might change the thickness. They might make it more thinner fringes, whatever. There's no stipulation on that, right? The border of blue could be a bit different shade, maybe, but there's still going to be the same moral code, though. I guess you could say technically in the kingdom of heaven, it wouldn't even matter if an Israelite's wearing fringes or not, because the law is going to be within us. But that's going to be on our clothes anyway, because it's part of the law. Verse 7, for what nation is there so great, who have Yahweh so nigh unto them, as Yahweh our power is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great, that have statutes and judgments so righteous, as all this law, which I set before you this day? So what nation is there so that's going to be like the Israelites, man? They ain't. And what nation is there like the Israelites right now? What other nation have got people that are dunking from the free throw line? And people will say, oh, you always go to sports. Listen, man, sports is one of the clearest signs to show the difference between people, man. We're all humans, right? So we all have a human body. But if one person's human body physically can do something far more greater than another person's human body, surely that person is showing on the most basic level how great they are compared to you. Surely. When you look at animals, right, you can clearly see the difference between some animals based off simply that. Like several animals have 4 legs, right? But a dog is nowhere, he's not even close to a lion. Not even close. Several animals or insects have wings, yet it's pretty clear that the eagle is greater than a lot of them. Just like how every human has, or most humans, let's say, because some humans can be born without, most humans have 2 arms, 2 legs, right? A head, shoulders, a torso, you know? But not why can't these other nations do the same things what we do? Every nation of people can run, but why can't these people run 100 meters how fast as we can? That's one of the most basic level signs of someone being better than another. And all the things that you people are talking about regarding academic stuff, for the longest time, you people have been trying to keep us away from academia. Yet when we get into it, we bring it out. This whole world thought that they were smarter than the Israelites, right? They thought that, that they run the show of the Bible. Listen, man, once we got the Bible in our hands, we brought things out of that book that you heathens never thought about before. But now all of a sudden, you're trying to play catch up and you're trying to mention them things in the Bible now. You never used to talk about the book of Obadiah. You never used to talk about the curses. You never used to talk about the Edomites. You never used to talk about a whole bunch of things that we talk about now. And now all of a sudden you're trying to bring it out now. But how comes you didn't think that there was any worth to that stuff before? You're just saying John 3:16, God loves everybody, the Israelites are done away with. There's no need to read the Old Testament, that's all been fulfilled. You don't need to keep the laws. If you die, you go to heaven or hell, which ain't true. Because if it was true, why would the judgments in the law have been the things that they were? Why wouldn't it just been you're going to go to hell? And why, if somebody's catching hell in their life, wouldn't they just die in the hopes of going to heaven or hell then? But you Christians ain't got the answers for those things because you made it up. You made a fake doctrine that's loosely based on some scriptures of the Bible that you quoted those scriptures wrong, right? That's what you did. And it's starting to be revealed that that's what you did. And I think I made enough points, man. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Makar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. Shalom.